Amarillo jokes, Amarillo, Texas one-liners jokes. Q. Why do ducks fly over Amarillo upside down? A. There's nothing worth craping on. Q. What is the difference between a person from Amarillo and a baby? A. The baby will stop whining after a while. Q. What's the only thing that grows in Amarillo? A. The crime rate. Q. What are the only two seasons in Amarillo? A. Football and construction. Q. Why didn't the possum cross the road? A. Because in Amarillo he's the other white meat. Q. Why aren't people from Amarillo allowed into SeaWorld? A. Because fishing poles are not allowed. Q. How does an Amarillo man get a girlfriend? A. By responding to a message on the wall of a men's room at a truck stop. Q. What is the difference between a bucket of shit and people from Amarillo? A. The bucket. Q. What's the difference between the mayor of Amarillo and a prostitute? A. The prostitute gives value for the money she takes. Q. What is a Amarillo landlord's favorite game to play? A. Monopoly. Q. How do people in Amarillo vote? A. Early and often. Q. How do you castrate a person from Amarillo? A. Kick his sister in the mouth. Q. What should you do if you find 3 people from Amarillo buried up to their neck in cement? A. Get more cement. Q. What's the difference between a person from Amarillo and a carp? A. One is a bottom-feeding scum sucker, and the other is a fish. Q. How did the boy from Amarillo, Texas die from drinking milk? A. The cow fell on him. Q. What do people from Amarillo and a bottle of beer have in common? A. They're both empty from the neck up. Q. Why do people from Amarillo keep their driver's license on their dashboards? A. So they can park in handicap spaces. Q. How do kids from Amarillo spend the first week of the school year? A. Studying the Miranda rights. Q. How do you know you are in Amarillo? A. When you pull up to a red light, you roll up your windows. Q. Did you hear about the power outage in the Amarillo library? A. 30 people were stuck on the escalator for 3 hours. Q. What does the average student from Amarillo get on his SAT? A. Drool. Q. What is the definition of safe sex down in Amarillo, Texas? A. Placing signs on the animals that kick. Q. Why do people from Amarillo have TGIF on their shoes? A. Toes go in first. Q. Why do they sell so many button-fly jeans in Amarillo? A. Because the sheep can hear the zippers a mile away. Q. What is the definition of a Amarillo virgin? A. An ugly 12-year-old who can outrun her brothers. Q. What do tornadoes and people from Amarillo have in common? A. They both end up in trailer parks. Q. How do they separate the men from the boys in Amarillo? A. With a restraining order. Q. What's the first thing an Amarillo girl does when she wakes up in the morning? A. Walks home. Q. What did the Amarillo girl say after sex? A. Get off me, Dad, you're crushing my smokes. Q. Why don't girls play hide and seek in Amarillo, Texas? A. No one would look for them. Q. What's the advantage of being married to a person from Amarillo? A. You can park in handicapped zones. Q. How do you know that Michael Jackson is not dead? A. He's still registered to vote in Amarillo. Career Day. It's Career Day in elementary school where each student talks about what their dad does. Little Johnny is last, and finally the teacher calls on him to talk about his dad. Johnny comes to the front of the class. My daddy is a dancer at a gay bar. He takes off his clothes for other men, and if they pay him enough money, he goes into the alley and performs sex acts on them. The teacher is shocked, and she calls for an early recess for the rest of the class. She sits down with Johnny and asks him if this is really true about his dad. Johnny says, no, but I was too embarrassed to say he's a coach for the Amarillo Sox baseball team. Amazing Race. Network TV is reported to be developing a Texas version of Amazing Race, the recent popular reality TV show. Contestants must travel from Amarillo through Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio and back to Amarillo, through San Marcos and Lubbock. Each will be driving a Volvo with a bumper sticker that reads, "I'm for gore, I'm gay, and I'm here to take your guns." The first contestant to complete the round trip is the winner. How hot is it in Amarillo? The cows are giving evaporated milk. The chickens are laying hard-boiled eggs. I saw a dog chasing a cat and they were both walking. Hot water now comes out of both taps. You actually burn your hand opening the car door. You realize that asphalt has a liquid state. The birds have to use pot holders to pull worms out of the ground. The potatoes cook underground, and all you have to do to have lunch is to pull one out and add butter, salt and pepper. Farmers are feeding their chickens crushed ice to keep them from laying hard-boiled eggs. The cows are giving evaporated milk. You start buying stock in Gatorade. The trees are whistling for the dogs. You start putting ice cubes in your water bed. You no longer associate bridges, or rivers, with water. You can say 113 degrees without fainting. Satan decided to take the day off. You eat hot chilies to cool your mouth off. Your dream house is any house in Alaska. You can make instant sun tea. You learn that a seat belt makes a pretty good branding iron. The temperature drops below 95, you feel a bit chilly. You've experienced condensation on your butt from the hot water in the toilet bowl. You would give anything to be able to splash cold water on your face.